Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay. Welcome back to the Shadowlands Alpha First Pass look. Today is the Mistweaver Monk. And things are going to sound a little different. I have been fidoodling and fidaddling with a huge new audio setup change. So, I mean, it's going to take a little while to get used to for me. And hopefully it doesn't sound too ridiculous on your end on YouTube, but I'll be making some more tweaks coming up soon. So if it suddenly sounds way different, then that's why. But one of the big things why I have done big audio setups and changes and things of that nature is because of your support and letting me keep doing this. And it's going on like 8 years now or whatever the heck. But if you would like to support what I do in a more physical sense, potentially, and would like to keep doing what I'm doing here on the internet and the live shows, all those kind of things, there's a button down below the stream. It's a merch button, and Pikachu's dressed up today. But these are the designs that came out for BFA. I will probably do something again for... This is actually my shirt. You can tell the wear there. For the next expansion. But this is the Battle Azerite Day shirt. It's kind of themed after the Guerrillas Demon Days kind of thing. But it comes in both Horde and Alliance styles, with or without text. All the art was done by Fabelina. So if you would like to check out all the other designs that Fabe has made on the channel, of course, they're linked down below in the description. There's a whole bunch of little final bosses. That's the line that has quite a number of other shirt designs. If you would like to check those out, link is down below. But without further ado, and potentially, and as I say this, I actually kind of mean this one, this could be the least updated thing to talk about, or things talk about, of any of the classes so far, which isn't a bad thing because Mistweaver does work, and there are some changes to Mistweaver that are really impactful overall. And you still, of course, bring the debuff that you need to bring, right? The Mystic Touch there. But Mistweaver has some baseline changes that all monks are going to be receiving. A couple of the first ones here, Expel Harm is back, which costs quite a bit of mana, actually. But it expels cheese from your cheese? Expels cheese. Can you tell I've been talking for the past many hours? But it expels negative chi from your body, 15-second cooldown, healing you for an instant amount. And then 10% of that is dealt as nature damage to an enemy within 8 yards. And then there's a rank 2 of this, which these ranks ups that are ranks ups. The rank ups are not all really in the game yet. There's a handful of them around, but right now there's going to be a rank up at 52 where you can cast your Expel Harm during Soothing Mist, which heals the monk and their Soothing Mist target, which then will make it do more damage. It'll double it, right? Because it'll heal you and your target, the tank or whoever you're channeling it on. So it's something else, and it adds a little bit of damage to the kit, but it's kind of flavory because all monks are getting Expel Harm. And obviously during Soothing Mist, you can, of course, channel your Enveloping Mist and your Vivify still. And then each tick of Soothing Mist still has your Gust of Mists, that's the next thing to bring up. Your Mastery hasn't changed. It's still Gust of Mists, which is the Renewing Mist, Enveloping Mist, Vivify. And then after so many ticks of Soothing, you get that extra heal. That's still there. But that is not to say that Healing Orbs aren't coming back in some way. There was also... part of the post, let me pull this up over here, is, where was it? Monk changes, not that one. Where is it linked? I have it on a different tab. Oh, never mind. I just copy and pasted this whole thing. Is that Expel Harm is supposed to also create healing orbs or healing spheres. I'm sorry. Healing spheres, kind of like the olden days. So those will be coming back at least in some way, shape, or form. Additionally, another big thing coming back to all monks is Touch of Death, which, come with me. We're going on a little mission here. Come with me. Just, well, first off, before we leave the rest area, I guess the other thing I gotta show up before I go out here and put things on cooldown while I'm recording a live video is everything else on your talent tree is the same. Rising Mist is being adjusted on live, and that will transition into what is going to be happening on Shadowlands version, because right now this is the updated version that isn't with the feedback that's happened currently. And I guess now we're kind of like going off on a different side thing here, but Blizzard posted that we've seen an emergence of Mistweaver builds that have used a great amount that Good gracious me, this post. We've seen the emergence of a Mistweaver build that does a great amount of healing using Rising Mist. We're working on a hotfix to address it. When we buffed Rising Mist with the intention of making a melee Mistweaver a viable playstyle, players discover that stacking extreme amounts of haste and cooldown reduction can reach a breaking point of infinite duration on your heal over time spells. Mostly you'll be able to blanket. I don't know if it actually worked with Enveloping Mist. I know Renewing Mist, I've heard shenanigans, people having this lasting forever and ever and ever. Hang on, rest area, take that, thank you. So that's one thing. This is the 2-second duration. On live right now it says 4, but this is not set in stone yet. So we'll see how this actually pans out with things like Renewing Mist. I don't know if you could make Enveloping Mist last much longer, but I think it's mostly with Renewing Mist lasting forever. The rest of the note says that even though it's exciting to see people discover new builds and interactions, the sheer power level in this case is likely to have a negative effect on the healing game for the remainder of BFA. The change is intended to prevent the infinite extension while allowing the Mistweaver Rising Mist to still be enabled as an effective melee playstyle. So what's going to happen here is that now Rising Mist will now no longer extend a heal beyond 100% of its original duration. So it'll add time, but say if you're doing Mist would be 20 seconds and then Pandemic if you double cast it, right? So 20, 25, 26 seconds or so. That's the amount that it would increase it to, which still means you could blanket out Renewing Mist that will last forever and ever and ever. But it says can now extend a healer time effect by up to 100% of its original duration. What isn't in that though is if you can keep pandemicking the reset with Rising Mist, or if once you get it to that amount, it still will fall off. We'll have to see. As I'm recording this, that was a hotfix change edited going in today on the 28th. So that's still to be seen. But anyway, I need a mob because we're talking about freaking healing spheres, and I got sidetracked making sure I brought up the Rising Mist change because that's also a big deal. But let's go over here. The other big change, while we're going over the big changes, there's only a handful, is I'll go back, of course. This is not working as intended, but this is the new Invoke Chi-Ji, or Invoke Chi-Ji, the red crane. Now, let me burn a scroll real quick here. Tome. When you don't have Chi-Ji, you have a reskinned Crackbird, which is now canonically going to be called Crack Dragon. So all of the monks have an invoke for each of the, I guess, August Celestials. And what this means is that it's basically a Chi-Ji, the current version, baseline, but it's Yulon. And it's supposed to act differently than what it's currently doing. But what I want to show off here based on the Healing Sphere talk is that this is kind of like the PvP talent way of the crane. And currently it's basically just pulling the exact same effect here into this, even though the talented version is supposed to last for 25 seconds. And obviously Chi-Ji hangs out and walks around with you, I guess. But Crackbird hangs out with you. But the big thing that I was brought up to test, and it's in the dungeon video. So if you missed any of the actual Mistweaver testing, the VOD, of course, is linked down below, as well as the dungeon run is also linked down below if you want to watch the entire thing. The beginning of that run is kind of scuffed, trying to get like in the swing of things, but I tried both like a Fistweaving forward build and a regular throughput build. The throughput build still worked way better, but obviously these characters are wicked scuffed. So if I pull one of these big birds down here, this version of Touch of Death, however, is going back to its old school version. It's a big 3-minute long cooldown, which I did definitely get some pretty juicy Touch of Deaths off in the dungeon. It felt pretty good, even from a healer POV. Just executing mobs that were lower health than me, essentially. Or how it works, as the tooltip puts out, this instantly kills creatures if they have less health than you. And it deals damage equal to 35% of your maximum health against players and stronger creatures under 15%. So on bosses and things, and dungeon bosses, raid bosses, you basically use it as a 15% execute that'll deal 35% of your maximum health against them. But if you've done any PvP or any war mode for that matter on the Mistweaver, you've been using Way of the Crane, just because it totally just blasts your mana, But this version does not cost anything, which is pretty wild if that's the case. But this gives you a big physical damage buff. So your Rising Sun kick, your Tiger Palm, and your Blackout kick combo, it's not going to buff things like Chi Wave or Chi Burst, those kind of things. But it gives you Eminence healing essentially for 15 seconds. 150% of all the damage you deal during that time frame to each tick will be healed to 3 nearest allies. This version is the same thing, but it's for 25 seconds. And this kind of competes with that Holy Paladin madness that's happening right now, with the fact that they can just go in and blast and do a ton of healing and damage at the same time because of Glimmer. And this gives some of that. Obviously, it can be combined with Rising Mist because you can put out a bunch of your Renewing Mist beforehand, say in a dungeon. And then when you go in and do the damages, you'll just keep extending and keep healing people, not only with the invoke, Fistweaving status with the Eminence healing, you'll also work with Rising Mist as well. But I need to show this off, as I've jibber-jabbed here long enough. Touch of Death is supposed to have interactions with every single monk. And the passage I have here from the notes that I'll pull up is that all Mistweaver monks are able to use Invoke Yulon, the Jade Serpent, which went over, right? Which gets replaced by this version of Chi-Ji. You either get Yulon or Chi-Ji. And it heals allies, Celestial Breath. Also spawns healing spheres for nearby allies. So base Yulon will summon healing spheres. They'll plop around the ground. It looks like Crackbird. It just runs around and does the same thing that Crackbird does on live. But I imagine in that case, there will be healing spheres dropped that also, when people run over them, will heal them for more. But, however, Touch of Death will now instantly kill any creature with less health than the Mistweaver monk and will spawn healing spheres for their allies. But that is not in the game currently. And why I keep setting all this up, because I'm only going to show it once because of live recording video, is when you... Can I LOS? When you use this Touch of Death with invoking Chi-Ji, you have to be auto-attacking as well to invoke this. Let him smack me around a little bit, get some HP on me. It does Way of the Crane heal. So not only will you be able to, obviously it's super niche, not only will you be able to be doing damage and fist weaving and doing the Eminence healing thing every 2 minutes for 25 seconds. Not only will that sync up with Rising Mist, which allows you to keep your hots going, keep extending them, and have the extra little bit of heal on top of all of the hots that are active, right? You get that extra little gust of healing basically on top of the fact that you're doing this healing. And if you can get either an execute off that deals your 35% of your HP, or if you kill the target, say if you're in a dungeon, and if you kill the target, depending on how they interact this, I don't know if you have to kill the target to get the healing spheres, obviously, but you get all of that and this goes up in damage because it's physical damage. I was told Touch of Death is physical, and so it's reduced by armor, but then buffed by 150% over here. As you saw, that Touch of Death hit for way more health than the mob had, but then the healing was, what, 10,000? That's my full health pool. That's only gonna hit 3 people. But then if it does that, snaps up 2 or 3 people in your dungeon, for example, or even in your raid, right? It's instant heals for many people or huge big heals and healing orbs, depending on if it spawns without needing to kill the target or not. That is one of the biggest changes to Mistweaver, because that interaction of being able to fistweave again, potentially, and if you're a much better Mistweaver than I am, then by all means. I did the Mage Tower back in Legion, so I have a monk and I have dibble-dabbled in the Mistweaver, but I'm not proficient and I haven't done like big, huge keys or raid healing and stuff like that. But between the Expel Harm and the rank 2 of it, which will add some damage and of course add more healing potential, everything else is the same still. Teachings of the Monastery still has that same interaction, of course, but then the punch kick kind of a back and forth that you can do with resetting it obviously works with the DPS window that you gain here for 25 freaking seconds. I imagine haste will still be a big deal due to the GCD with a fist weaving style of monk. Everything else is still here, right? Refreshing Jade Wind, your statue is still here, still doing its thing. I had to switch to upwelling in the dungeon because I needed the extra healing on the move because the boss forces you to move. We did the Necrotic Wake. Focused Thunder is still going to be pretty big as well, even for just damage, and potentially Focused Thunder could come up because you can get the RSK Focused Thunder style where it takes the cooldown down by 9 seconds. So you basically every other GCD, right? And that can feed into invoking the Red Crane with Focused Thunder. Is that better or not? I am not sure. Obviously, that can sync up with Spirit of the Crane with your passive if you're getting in there and actually doing damage. Manatee still, unfortunately, a talent and not baseline. I'm sorry. I can't do anything about that. But everything else for the monk is as it is on live right now. So you still have the crazy toolkit of Ring of Peace and, of course, your stun, or you can take Ring of Peace out, which I don't know why you ever would. Song of Chi-Ji unfortunately barely gets used because Ring of Peace is so good. Rop is just one of the best spells in the entire game. No matter who you ask, it's such a good spell. And I didn't mouse over the slight change to Fortifying Brew. It's 15% max health and current health and 15% damage reduction for 15 seconds on a 2-minute cooldown. I think they nerfed this just slightly because they also gave it to Windwalker. Brewmaster's version is still big, long cooldown. Big, long cooldown. And here, we talk long enough, actually. Let me summon my Jade Serpent statue and I'll summon Crack Dragon. So, yeah, it's a reskin right now. I don't even know if it'll run around and heal anyone. I don't think it will. It won't heal the guards. It will not heal the guards. Dang it. And of course, as I always mention on any healer episode, I talk about help harm macros a lot. So I'll leave this up on screen right now. If you want to ever do a help harm macro, you can add @mouse over modifiers to these within the brackets. So you can do @mouse over, I think it's @mouse over comma space help, but I could be wrong on that one. Someone can correct me in the comments down below, and I'll definitely have to like that comment so it'll pop up on higher. But I always use help harm macros as a healer, because it saves your bindings, right? You can either have all these bindings for your, your punch kick kind of combinations here, or you can just have them behind healing spells, which is what I usually do. Because you can have your heal, and there's no like double tapping, right? You can go right into your heals and then go right back into your punches and your kicks. Obviously, I put RSK as the actual tooltip here. These are just Vivify, and this is Enveloping Mist, because it doesn't matter. Nothing has a cooldown, really. There's a short cooldown on Blackout Kick, right? But it's one global. You're not able to spam it. You want to use every other. But that is the Mistweaver Monk. I think the additional base cooldown, or trading the base cooldown for the base Way of the Crane in PvE, will definitely have them in some way, shape, or form competing with the Holy Paladin Madness that is currently active, and their ability to do tons of damage and tons of healing at the same time. They're keeping Glimmer, though, unfortunately. They're keeping Glimmer forward. There's a couple other things to wrap up here on the end. There is some spell power notes, which may or may not be a huge deal because of just the game scaling changing. But Soothing Mist is now 400% spell power, up from 320. Renewing Mist is now a little more expensive at 2.5% of your mana, up from 2.2. Oh boy. And Vivify also, oh no, sorry, other way around. Renewing Mist is cheaper, 2.2 from 2.5. It's 2.5 on live. Vivify is the more expensive one, which that's obviously going to be how it works out for you either using your T on it or not, right? Because when you Thunder Focus T, it becomes free, if I'm not totally mistaken. Yeah, Vivify is free, but Vivify is going up to, which is for all monks, going up to 4.1% up from 3.5. So Vivify is more expensive, Renewing Mist is cheaper, and Soothing Mist is stronger. Just barely, though. Your Jade Serpent statue is still the same coefficient based on live, but again, that's just numbers that we don't know anything about. And the last little bit is that your RSK, or sorry, not RSK, your Spinning Crane Kick, your SCK, is a 6-target AoE. A lot of the AoE caps in the game are from AoE spells that are spammable. And obviously you can spam spinning crane kick forever. So those things usually have target caps. Whereas things that are a little bit more burst oriented, or you cannot spam, kind of like enhancement shamans, crash lightning, and then you're only hitting storm strike and lava lash once, and then that's all you can do until you can hit it again 7 seconds later. Those don't have target caps because they can't be spammed unless you get lucky with crits, or less lucky with procs rather, or both. But that is that. Let me know in the comments down below if you are playing a Mistweaver Monk, or what you think of how this little change may move the Mistweaver Monk in a little bit more forward motion, because they're a really good healer, but their problem was they only had Cocoon and Revival, and now you baseline have Crack Dragon, which I'm sure is still placeholder and will actually be updated to do something, and it's supposed to, like, I imagine she's gonna fly around and barf on people and then ploop out healing spheres. That would be fantastic. They better be worth it though. If they heal for absolutely nothing, then it'll be flavor. But maybe her heal will heal for something. We'll see. That is, of course, the Mistweaver Monk. Again, check the description box down below if you want to support what I do here, the show, the stream, and everything in between in a more physical way by supporting the artists that I work with the merch we have. Again, this is the Azurite Days shirt. Got all the different little final bosses down there. Lil'Adin, whole bunch of ones. Got Little Wolf. So we got Little Ajara. Well, the Little Queen, rather. But they're all down below. Check those out if you'd like. Got new designs coming out soon, hopefully, when I get to work with other artists. But that sort of comes down to your support in that regard. And, of course, the video description box down below has the channel guide in it, where everything is sort of smooshed together and collected. But that's that. We've got Windwalker Monk up next. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you all in the next Shadowlands Alpha testing video.